Welcome everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Today we will be having a special session, special type of webinar. It will be focused specifically on one field, which is building management system and building automation systems. Right. So most of you know me already. My name is Igor. I'm the business development director for SmartICS automation platform. And today we have my colleague Daniel, who is joining. Daniel is our product manager. He's one of our best and most capable colleagues that would be joining me today, trying to to help you better understand our solution. And we will be developing a live project in BMS, as we earlier discussed, right? So I think we can start, right? Let's look at today's agenda, specifically what we are doing today, right? So of course we'll have a quick intro. We will try to remind you about SmartICS. Most of you already are very well familiar with our solution. Most of you have already current projects, very good ones, I must say. And of course, today we focus on building management systems, and we will have some theoretical part. We'll have definitely the a live project development, right? We'll go through all the steps, all the entire cycle, more or less. Of course, we'll have some theoretical side. We'll have some practical, and of course, the best part, most probably for most of you, is the live demo, is the live demonstration of how do we create automation project for a BMS case from scratch, right? So from beginning, we will we'll try to demonstrate it as simple, as easy as possible, right? Okay, so let's quickly remember what SmartICS stands for, right? And
if you have some question during our demonstration, you can ask it in the chat or special section with question and answer. Please be active. If you're interested in something, ask it, and we try to answer this question.
Yes, exactly. We have our technical team on standby. If you have questions, ask it in the comment section for everybody to see, and then of course we'll try to answer, right? So SmartICS, as you already know, has several important differentiations from other automation platforms. One of them is, of course, the no-code approach. As you all remember, basically no coding, no scripting. You can literally create projects within days, develop them from zero, and of course with the easy customization, it still keeps a very interesting and user-friendly interface. What makes it so unique and special and quick is specifically our automated interface builder element that helps automatically link several signals and have the dashboards, have the widgets popping in, which of course makes the life easier for them, for the engineers, right? Another interesting element that we have is, of course, that we're a web-based solution, allowing you to have access to your data, access to your projects and your dashboards from any location in the world, from any device. All you need is a simple browser, right? And last but not least, differentiator is our licensing approach. We are not licensing by tag, right? We try to make it different. We try to make it easier for you, for our partners, for the system integrators. So by default, as you remember, we are offering unlimited tags, unlimited users, unlimited workstations, right? So this is a good element that has been appreciated by most of you, right? If we look at the specific features, right, as you know, the no code allows us to make it fast and easy in terms of configurations, in terms of development of the projects, right? So even learning and later adapting the application is much easier than if you take any traditional solutions. And most of you know it already, as you have tested the online version, the installation kit, right? And of course, the web basis and the web technology allows us to have a much more transparent approach in terms of accessing data via a regular browser from any location in the world, right? So nowadays, working remotely is so important, and this is why we took it as the main approach. And of course, the clear licensing approach, right? As I said earlier, by default, it's unlimited signals, right? There is no trick in it. Most of you that already have, quotations, calculations, projects, you get the licensing figure, the licensing, let's say, cost from the beginning, and it's stable until the end. There is no need to, to renegotiate, to increase it, to decrease it. This is what we allow you to focus on the daily work rather than discussing with us about figures. If we talk specifically about low code and no code, right, it's been around for some time, right? But when we talk about no code and low code within the automation, this is slightly different, right? How can it be achieved, right? And what are the main advantages, right? Of course, it increases speed, it accelerates the entire steps, right? One of the most important things is that you can literally connect and link devices, and it could be again controllers, it could be field devices, it could be done faster. And the fact that we can literally copy devices and copy the settings with the dashboards allows you to add and connect devices in a very short time, right? So of course the human error factor is excluded if there is so many steps which are automated, and of course it increases the speed. It makes it, again, it keeps the visual interface, the visual effect, it keeps them at a very high level. And of course, anytime the customer would need to scale, would need to customize, this is something that our system, that SmartICS allows, right? And of course, at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers, it's all about the cost, right? So with our solution, we are able to provide you a very low cost system support, right? Very cost efficient. Looking at the application and the industries, after couple of years for us being on the market, we see a very good application of SmartICS within different fields, right? So as you know, SmartICS could be, of course, used within simple, relatively simple tasks in utilities, or something more sophisticated in oil and gas, or power generation, or even renewables. But of course, it is moving on to different fields, increasing the application. So even smart irrigation and agriculture, manufacturing, everything is within our scope, right? But today we focus specifically on infrastructure monitoring. We focus on smart buildings, on the BMS. So today's session, this is what we focus on. This is what we were looking for. So from the systems, right, that could be added and could be connected here, literally anything you can imagine, anything you could see within a smart building, within a data center, anything, any subsystem could be easily connected and linked to our platform, right? So of course it starts with the basic electricity and firefighting and security and climate control. So these systems, they could be connected to SmartICS very easily. So these are the systems, right? And now if we look what could be done after we link these systems, right? So most important and, let's say, typical and standard approach and tasks is, of course, monitoring and controlling, right? So the team the administration team, the engineering team of a building, of course, they would need some monitoring, some controlling, right? But at the same time, by default, we offer remote access. We offer the possibility to have the access to your data remotely, right? It could be from a different city, it could be from a different country. As we all know, it could be from Bali Beach while you're on holiday, right? And again, it's via a simple browser from any device, even mobile phones, right? And of course, after you get the data, after you control and monitor and you see everything, you would like to have some statistics. You would like to have some reporting, some analytics, right? So this is all could be easily done again if you apply, the SmartICS for these specific projects, right? If we look specifically on a BMS stage, right? If we go a little bit deeper, right? What could be done and what are the, let's say, main advantages, right? So of course, some sort of monitoring and accounting of consumed resources and their distribution. This is very important. SmartICS also allows to decrease cost and of course to optimize the equipment operation mode and of course reduce the peak loads. Another important thing is of course savings on specialized services, right? So there is no need to make constant rounds around the building, checking the systems manually. You can literally assign the function of a dispatcher to one full-time engineer or full-time employee, and you can outsource the rest, right? So thus you minimize the variable cost. Other crucial element is of course safety, so minimizing the likelihood of accidents and reducing damages. All this is able to do because of an earlier response that is likely to reduce repair cost, for example, right? Also savings on contract maintenance, because the notifications and the remote access to the system, they reduce the cost and it reduces, of course, and improves the response time. And of course, efficient maintenance, right, which is of course repair, also operational costs. So in a way, it is basically the equipment failure preventive management as part of it, right? So this is all theoretic. This is all, let's say, a basic. Most of you know about this. So now let's move probably to the interesting part, right? To the BMS project development from scratch, right? So in our experience, right, we try to take a standard case, a standard request of a relatively simple building, only 3 floors, right? It would have some park area around it, right? So all it starts with the basic customer requirements, right? So what does the customer, what does the end user need, right? So what are the technical requirements? What are the general I would like to have, I need to have? So all these are listed in a specific list, right? So of course, for our case, we took a standard one, and for our demonstration, for our case, we were asked to monitor the status of equipment and of system operation, right? Which is of course the lighting, the water supply, the heating, ventilation, and AC. Of course, monitoring the microclimate in the building, right? Of course, having some account of reporting and accounting for the building and all the signals that are incoming, right? So this is basically the theoretical part, the requirements part that we receive from our end user, or sometimes, as you know, you are the one formulating it together with the customer, right? So once we have this kind of list of what we want to do, now we go back and we start looking at the stages, right? What are the steps? What are the stages for a BMS project development, right? So anybody would know the standard steps. In our experience, we look at them and we divide them literally in 4 or 5 steps. Some of them are again theoretical, some of them are field steps. Something is connected to architecture development and design. Some of them is specifically creation project in the platform. So what we do today in our BMS case and BMS demo, we focus on the very first 3 steps, right? The first 3 stages. We will try to go as easy as possible. We will not focus on procurement and the installation because it's a field part. Today we focus more on the design side, on the architecture, and we'll try to show you as detailed as possible, right? So if we have a requirement, right, a list of requirements from the customer that we would need to connect different systems. Daniel, we need to move the slide. So if we have a requirement, for example, connecting the power supply system, right? It all starts with the vision. It all starts with the vision, how you are creating, how you're connecting, for example, the hardware, right? Here in our idea, of course, is using vendors, is using partners that we know. In our experience, this is Phoenix Contact. We are, of course, identifying the correct, the easiest and the best way to connect and gather data. So in terms of protocol, in this specific case, we're using Modbus, right? So this is, again, just a vision. This is the drawing board. This is where we create the main idea, how we would like to do it, right? So the signal comes from the devices through Modbus. It would go to our server, right? If we have a similar system, but let's say the next system would be the lighting system. We actually had a very similar case recently, right? So again, it's connecting devices. We have 3 floors, right? As I said in the beginning, so devices from 3 different floors. They're very similar, right? So the controllers that are gathering data from field devices, we're using BACnet for this specific reason. And again, the data are consolidated, the data are gathered and transmitted to the server. From the server, again, we provide the data to workstation. Any device could be your workstation, as you remember, and the software, the SmartICS, is uploaded only to the server, right? This is also important to remember. When we look at different systems like fire alarm and intrusion system, here we are connecting automatically and directly. We're connecting field devices, right? So it could be, again, fire belts. It could be some buzzers. It could be, the foam system. It could be, again, some emergency system. So this, again, could be connected by BACnet. So this is, again, the vision and the drawing that we have created for this kind of system. So like this, as you see, every system has a basic structure, right? If we move to the next system, for example, AC, right? So how do we connect the air conditioner? Again, 3 floors, relatively similar structure. The air conditioners, they are connected through BACnet because we're controlling and monitoring them at the same time, right? And again, it goes basically to the server, and then the access via web access, we are getting linked from any workstation, right? If we look at the ventilation system, which in our case is a separate story, right? Again, 3 different floors. We have similar hardware, right? In this case, we are using Modbus to gather the signals. And again, all it goes to the server, right? So once we identify more or less the list of devices and the list of systems and the group of data. So not specifically the signals, this is lower level, but this is more of a higher level that we focus at this moment. We focus on the group of data that we are gathering, right? So on your screen, you could see a couple other examples. And of course, once we identify the group of data, we have a basic understanding. What is the structure? What is the hardware to be used? What is the protocol? So once we have this in mind, then we can move on to the next phase. The next phase is specifically used is connected to the users, right? After we gather all these signals, a certain structure, of course, is needed, right? So after we have the idea who is the user, who is using this data, and how we can create the architecture, right? So of course there is the management team who would have, you know, some upper level view on the reports. It would be, you know, some chief engineers. It could be, you know, some inside developers that would have the editing functions, right? So here we are creating the architecture for the users. We're trying to understand who is having what kind of access, who is viewing something that is done automatically, who is viewing something that is done as an additional module, additional features, like for example, reporting and data analysis. This is again optional, so it's not a must. Not everybody need it. It happens, right? But of course we have, you know, the historical data, the notifications, and these are done automatically, right? These are created, only some settings are needed. And once we identify the key users, right, the number of dispatchers, for example, the numbers of standard users, we can move on to the dashboards, right? Of course, everything starts with the main page, right? It would be, you know, the main page that would have link buttons to different systems and subsystems, right? So what we like to do, we like to have a main page that would have like the basic image, even the basic mnemo scheme and graph of the building. And then of course we would have link buttons to every single dashboard separately, right? So the user would go in, you know, into details for every specific dashboard, right? Of course, separately, we are creating the reports. We're creating, of course, the trends and events. These are done automatically, right? So once we identify the dashboard architecture, right? Once we have it, you know, on a piece of paper, even, right? It's as simple as that. Then, of course, we move on. For today's case, right? For today's case, we would not have enough time to develop every dashboard, right? We will try to focus on the main page, right? We will try to focus on the heating, ventilation, and air conditioner. We'll try to create quickly and easily for you to see. And of course, we'll try to focus a little bit on fire and the intrusion alarm dashboard, right? At the same time, we will see the trends, we will see the events, right? And then of course, if we have time, we'll move to the reports. Okay, so now if you look back at the steps, right, at the stages that we showed in the beginning, now you could see that slowly but steadily we are checking in most of the elements within the first 3 stages, right? So of course is the technical side. Of course it's not done within, you know, 10 minutes, but again, it is relatively simple once you have the structure, once you have the idea and the vision, what you want to have, what does the customer need, and how you are getting to that point, right? So now I would like to invite Daniel to try to help us with the, let's say, most interesting and least bureaucratic, least paperwork side, which is specific project creation within SmartICS from scratch, from zero, from a blank page. So Daniel, let's try to show our participants how we do it.
Okay, thank you, Igor. I think in parallel you can try to see the question from the chat because a lot of questions directly on the chat, not on the question chat. And I try to show what we can do quickly.
Yes. So let's start with the main page, right? With the home page that would be let's start with devices. Yes, let's start with devices. And of course, for a demo, for today's demo, we have a certain list of devices. These are demo simulation, right? We have not connected real life devices, but you could see that within these devices, you can name them, right? So each device, for example, controller, which is in charge of gathering data from a specific system. So you could see the list of devices, right? And the list of discrete and analog parameters, right? So you have the possibility here to customize them, right? You have the option to edit, right? So you added the unit of measure, you added even the name, the way you label it. So this is relatively easy again to customize. So if somebody is used to to a certain type of data interface, then of course you can customize it, and it would be easier for you, for your customer, for your engineers, right? So this is the devices that we are using today for our specific demonstration, right? Now, if we are creating a main page from scratch, right? So this is where you start. You have the option to add 3 types of cards. You have the option to upload image card. If you are using the image card, you have the option to upload a mnemo scheme, right? So this kind of graphic, it could be a different image. It could be done by simple third-party solutions, and on top of this mnemo scheme, on top of this page, you are adding different widgets, right? So let's start with for example, linking our home page, right? We are creating for example, the link button to a different dashboard, right? So Daniel just created the HVAC dashboard. So now, as easy as that, without coding, without scripting, you easily are adding link buttons. You are adding widget that is linking it to a different dashboard, right? Let's create another one. For example, yeah, let's do security. TY, yes, correct. So once you create the dashboard, it stays empty for now, right? But you are adding the link button. Here is the list of widgets, right? And the list of the dashboards are automatically appearing within the settings, right? So as I said from the beginning, once you have the architecture, now you're simply creating, linking, adding. Now let's try to add some other widgets, right? If we would like to add, for example, some details, right? So some signal, and again, we have 3 floors, right? So we would have 1, 2, 3 different floors, and you can copy the widget and you can rename it, right? In order to keep the same layout, in order to keep the same structure, right? So as easy as that, as you could see on the right hand side, you have this pop-up window, which gives the option to copy, to edit, or to move, or even to delete a certain widget, right? So Daniel is trying to to play around with the fonts, right? So of course you can set up different colors, different fonts. It could be italic, it could be bold, it could be underlined. So whatever the customer would like to have it as a customized feature, it is easy to do, right? Okay, so once we are adding all this text, right next to it, we are adding the signal itself, right? So if we are adding, for example, the security details, right? We can easily add right next to the text. We're adding the widget itself, the signal itself, right? So we copy them. Instead of fire, now we're choosing security, for example, right? So as easy as that, without scripting, coding, that's the basis of our of SmartICS. And of course, you can decrease, you can try to make it as adaptive as possible, try to customize it. And of course, you can assign different colors, right? So if you are not a fan of bright colors, right? for me, for example, I don't like bright colors. So instead of, red, I would prefer something else. Or instead of, hard green, I would prefer some more light colors. So Daniel is trying to add additional signals, right? Since he was working on the right side of the screen, now he's trying to do, to add different details and link different signals to the left side, right? As I said in the beginning, we like to have the main page as the main dashboard, as sort of let's say eagle-eye view when you have the basic information, right? So you have the main alarms, you have the basic information on each floor, on each system or subsystem, and later on we will have different different dashboards for different specific system.
This way I can point it as where I want to put some kind of information, some kind of widget, and then I can see that's my first picture not enough good for the system, and I try to improve. I can add new picture for the background with same dimension.
Yes, that's very important.
Widgets,
that's very important.
Yes.
We need to keep the same resolution, right, and the same dimension. So whatever we created in the beginning, right, if you need to change the main Mnemo scheme, you can do it. You can do it and then simply upload the updated version, and then you will you'll simply have to move them in the correct way, right? So it does take a minute or two, but in the end you have the ability to customize and to make it easier. So the list of widgets, what I also wanted to tell you until Daniel is creating, we're constantly updating this list of widgets, right? So whatever widget we had, let's say even a year ago, right? Now we're adding to them. We are trying to to make it let's say more by demand, right? So anytime the customers, anytime the the end user would like to have something specific, something unique. So this is the case, for example, with the live trends, right? Daniel, do you think you can share the trends? So if we are adding some trends as well.
Oh yes, we can add additional card, for example, for main signals and for trends. Let's add new cards. In first cards, we add a widget about general alarms. Every system that's connected in our system automatically get a general alarm tag that's inform if even one tag from the system is high, that's you preset level, you get alarm on this tag. So let's do it. For example, subsystems, general alarm. Okay. Water supply, general alarm.
So the general alarms are automatically created for each object. Okay, this is like a main page view that is very useful. If you don't want to go into details, but at least you see this general alarm, it simply gives you the signal, right? So for example, the live trends that now Daniel is adding, this was the widget that I was describing, that within for the next release, what we're adding, we're customizing this live trend. So you would have the option to add few data signals within one widget. Right, so we have this very interesting widget also, the polygon, So from the polygon itself, you can create any object, right? So it could be, of course, a square, it could be a triangle. It has very easy and understandable logic when you are adding different angles, right? So here, as you see, Daniel is adding extra angles, right? Extra points. So here, the sky is the limit for your imagination, I would say, right? So you have a polygon, and out of it, you create anything you want.
Yes, for example, for this widget, we can add text that's show intrusion in the first level, or for example, general alarm from any system from first level. And when we get this signal equal point, for example, 1 for discrete, we get this widget red color and showing that's some kind of problem on the first floor. Look in the details.
Yeah.
And add the link that show all system from this level.
Yeah. And at some point, you can even make the widget one widget on top of another, right? So you'd have layers. So within the widget settings, you have the option to make it transparent, to make it in the background. So this is also very interesting and unique way to help you to customize and to have this, dashboards created. Yep. So as you see, of course, we have to simulate the signals, but whenever we have the signal that, yes, there is, for example, a sensor of movement, the movement sensors, then of course the entire floor would give you the main alarm, right? Okay, so this is the main part. Now let's try to focus on the security, right? So within the security, we will try again. We start from scratch. We are uploading some Nemo schemes, right? Since we have 3 floors, right? Let's have a 3 floor separately on different colors, right?
And let's try to focus on first. As other floors make it from this similar situation. So let's at first add text that show what we want to show in this case. For example, fire alarm. Let's be text, and where it happens. For example, we have a lot of cabinets, a lot of places where it can be, and we use the sensors with an address that show exact place where it's happened. For example, cabinet number 11.
Right. So if you have if we are talking about, apartment building, if we're talking about office building, this is basically the numbers that would help you and help the dispatcher better understand.
And then add the widget that show what's happening, all good or something wrong.
So of course, for this specific case, we created, as I said in the beginning, we showed you the devices. So these are the demo devices. Of course, we have a lot of signals ready for today's session, right? This is again done for the demonstration purposes. Right. So once you set up the very first Eclipse, then you literally copy paste it and keep the same size, keep the same layout.
And if you need select the next tag, that's you can choose the name, for example, floor 1, point 1, point 2, point 3, and other.
Yeah, so you easily link it, right? Again, you don't have to code, you don't have to use scripting. It is as easy as that.
If you want to add some graphics element by widgets, you can add, for example, some kind of widget, rectangle, select the same color with each position. Now it doesn't matter what kind of tag you use. Okay, we add the elements that be background for this information. And then to show this information, we just using the layout. Go to the background and our other widget on the top of this. And then we just change the size.
This is all about customization, right? It's important, of course, to have the standard Nemo scheme, and then on top of it, you can create different objects, different rectangles. The polygon would allow you to create any figure, right? So instead of fire, for example, if you want to have security cameras, right? So we do the same, right? It consists of the text widget, right? Security 1, security 2, security 3, for example, right? Or ABC, if you need to do it, right? So let's locate A, for example, we link it to the main entrance, right? We add another one. We call it camera, and then we link it. Daniel will do it now. We link it to the external link, right? So instead of dashboard, use external link, and here you are using the link of the camera itself.
I put the space for the label. That's be clear information, and other settings for B, this button I set maybe invisible if you need, major just counter. And now we get the link. That's
we don't have a link yet,
yep.
Right? We will show it later, right? But the concept is that you are linking it, right? On top of it, you can set up a different widget, right? So this is how it's done, right? So of course, floor 1, 2, 3. If you have 20, then of course you do 20 or more.
Or right? Use one picture for whole floors.
Yeah. You can have one picture and then you simply have these little tables, right? So now we have showed you basics of the security. Now let's move to the heating, ventilation, and AC. And again, we start with the simple card, right? And for the card, we will be using. Let's start again with the text. We like using text.
And maybe change the size for the big. Okay. Then add information about this chiller. It's work or not. State chiller A.
Yeah. So as you see, for our case, we have prepared the list of signals, right? But once you have it, it's absolutely easy to link, to play around. So that's why even sometimes in our experience, what we see this last meeting with the customer, right? The commissioning phase is going much smoother and much easier. First of all, it could be done remotely, right? Secondly, even the customer would have the possibility to play around and maybe change it a little bit, customize it. So at some point, we give the freedom for you as a system integrator, and the customer would also have the option to easier learn it, right? Easier understand what is happening, how it was created. Of course, we can limit their access, so they can only view, right? This is also possible.
Now I see that I want to change the position of this text in the middle of this widget. I just enter in the redaction and add space, and maybe change the size of space. Okay, it's done. Add new widget. Let it be. Change the size. So and do the same operation.
Yeah, in a way, it's a copy paste, right? You just take whatever you have, you simply copy it, and then you rename it. You change the parameter, and then as easy as that, you know, you can have all the signals linked and the widgets created, right? So I'm sure most of you have tried different platforms, right? And from what we have receiving, you know, as a feedback, this approach is much easier, right? Because the interface is easy to understand, the platform is easy to learn and to adapt for the future, you know, projects. So this is all made to allow you to create, to develop projects much faster, because speed, let's say, is the name of the game. Once you do it faster, then you can move on to the next project, right? So we are all in the money business, right? So if you're talking about projects, if we're talking about, you know, return on investment, then of course having more projects, having less time spent on each project, having less resources. So these are the main advantages of SmartICS for the automation projects. So of course, this adaptive layout, as you could see, it's very easy to, you know, to move it left and right. So it would be, you know, in the same line. It could be, you know, located in a way that it is, let's say, satisfactory for your eye. So the interface is user friendly. The interface is easy to read.
And this way we very fast get short dashboard about first floor and chillers, how it's work now, and short information about, you can rename it.
Yep, you can rename it, you can add different labels. If you want, you write nothing, right, by a simple space, or you name it the way customer wants it, right? It could be, of course, your local language, right? So here we give you the freedom, we give you the option to easier customize it and change easier, you know, without spending too much time on it. So that's why I said that this the last mile in any project is, of course, the commissioning and testing. So this is done much quicker. So I know most of you are suffering when the customer constantly is asking for something new. The customer is constantly demanding, you know, some modifications. So once you have the option to do it quick, then of course you speed up the process.
With this very short time, we start create main dashboard. We start create security information with cameras and fire alarms. You can add information about intrusion, what's happening, for example, at night or now, something broken, or maybe something else.
Yeah,
it's really fast.
It's really fast. Again, we have limited time, so that's why we're showing the basics, right? But in a lot of cases, this is literally, you know, repetitive task. If we're talking about many floors, many similar signals, and of course a lot of devices could be copied, we will show it a little bit later. Right. So now what we can do actually, right, since this is, you know, a demo, we can actually log in with a different user and show you how it looks like after Daniel, I think you spent you know, 5-6 hours on it, right? When you
maybe yes, 6
hours, right? When you have all the signals, different dashboards, different link buttons, and now it looks more or less ready, right? So here, of course, the main page looks a little bit more more filled up with the information, right? On the main page, you could see, you know, the link buttons to different dashboards. You see, of course, the main building. This is our approach. If, of course, you would like to have it differently, then it is able to be done, right? So now, Daniel, maybe let's look at the security, right? If we click and we go to security, Daniel was focusing on one floor, but as you could see, you spent half an hour and then you have all your floors, right? So here, it is important to see, do we have a camera feed from external?
Yes.
Yes.
You can just add the link for the IP camera and see information from it.
Yeah, so we have a live camera feed from our lovely Jakarta.
It's trying to connect, but you can add camera in your inside web just to get better connection. Now maybe some kind of problem with this camera.
Yeah, well, it's a free camera, so that's why it's it might not be, but we can come back to it a bit later, right? So we have here the feed. So of course it's external, so it could take some time, but the important thing is that is easily we can do it. I think it has 4 or 5 seconds lag, but then the camera is connected, right? So with a simple click, right, you can have multiple cameras, so your user would have access to immediately jump onto something, right? Here we have also the fire alarm, right, that Daniel described, for example, Office 10, 11, 12, and so on. So all you have is this is the signal that comes in. It's a demo, it's a simulation, so of course it's not real life. But what we can also simulate, I think we can simulate the infiltration, right? So we will be issuing a signal that somebody is trying to access the door, right? If we are simulating, so you could see that the door is red, right? This, we created it again. You can do it with a polyline or a polygon, right? So you can link windows, you can link, door or internal doors, or the main door or the main gate if we're talking about a larger area. So as you could see, it's a polyline, right? You simply connect the signal, right? You have the option to set up a logic, right? If the signal is is incoming, then of course it's red. If it's outdated or other value, then it's simple transparent or other color. So here you have the option to play around and quickly save. Yeah, let's make it green, right? So now, as you see, there is no signal and it's green. Once there is an intrusion, then it's moving to red. As simple as that. Again, guys, no coding, no scripting, just as advertised in the beginning, right? Yeah, so this is quickly about security. Daniel, can we show the heating and ventilation dashboard? So here, 1 second. Yeah, you can go to the main page via link buttons, or you can go via the main upper options on the horizontal bar, right? So the HVAC, what Daniel was trying to show you was floor 1, but again, you spend another 10 minutes and then you have floor 2 and floor 3 easily also relatively easier connected, right? So here it's also easy to do, right? A lot of dashboards you can literally copy and simply change the signal and change the parameter, right?
For the dashboard, in your cases, you can add another information that's more important for your users, and just add card with links in the necessary information to deep down in system. Yep. For example, look into condition, how it's work, what is the temperature. You can see, for example, climate information in each floor, in each office. Yep. You can look history about the temperature. You can get a report about how its system work. No, it's easy. For example, go to history. I add the link that show information about this history for exact text by this link, and just see the information for last 60 minutes. You can select the trend that you need. You can scale see more details. You can move and see the other part of information. And from here, you can even change the time. Let's see this happen for last 50 minutes. Okay, then go back to the main page.
Yeah. So using, a simple logic, simple linking buttons, you can connect different dashboards, going, cascading. All it's possible to be done. From HVAC, I think we have the option to show something about reporting, right? So reporting is a relatively a new feature, right? I mean, a couple months it has been around. So I guess most of you already have tested it. It does indeed provide you easy, again, option to create a report, to create some analytics, right? That would help you, with let's say monthly dashboard creation or an overview that would be, necessary for, for higher management, for example. But reporting is something very, very interesting. And as you could see, again, the interface, we try to make it minimalistic, but still very, very adaptive and user friendly. Right?
Yeah, you can add a lot of information. You can calculate, scale, look details, select information, a lot of options.
Yep. So I think for now you have a better understanding. Of course, we have done internal sessions with some of you, but we really hope that this example gave you a better understanding. Of course, every platform is separate, is different, right? Our approach is simplicity, yet we try to keep the main focus, right? You have the main page, you have a logic behind, right? You have like this a floating window that is giving current alarms if somebody needs to to search for the historical part, right? So it's a good.
All events already here. You just select what you want to see. For example, information about fire. We can see that it's filtered by point. It's a device's security and what's happening in the different floors, fire or not.
Yep. So before this session, we were asking you if yes, we have the water supply, for example, room. This is actually a great example how you can upload a very good, let's say, high resolution mnemo scheme, right? And on top of it, you can create your your widgets to visualize what is happening. This is a great example that it doesn't have to be simple schemes, right? It could be any vector image that you are uploading and you are working with it, right? And of course, the main, let's say, rule, let's call it a rule or preference, keep the resolution of the original image, right? If you would like to add these squares, right, and highlighting something, then try to keep the original resolution and dimension of the original image, and then easily you can upload an updated version of your vector graphic, right?
Here you can see that it's just image for the background and all other information made by widgets.
Yep. So it's as simple as that. Again, add different widgets, texts, different parameters to make it easier, right? So as I was saying before the event, before this webinar, we were asking you what questions you might have, right? So it would help us, prepare better. So one question was specifically about our latest release that included maps, right? Daniel, can we show quickly also the maps, how we work with them? Right, let's simply create, let's create a simple dashboard. So here, from what you see, we can upload, add card image, and now we even added maps, right? So in a very similar way, you would have the access, by the geolocation, it provides you a standard, location. But then if you have a building management project, or you have anything else, the maps would provide you, again, the possibility to have this general view, right? So here, very same concept. there is a simple logic when you are adding widgets. Let's start with adding a group. Yeah, so let's point it, let's say point 1. So within a group, you are adding widgets, right? Why do we need it? You will see a little bit later. It's simply much easier to jump from one point to another, right? From one location to another. So here, again, more or less the same list of widgets are present, right? So of course you can have, you know, some analog, some discrete signals. You can even add, you know, real life date and time, right? You can, if you use the real life date and time, you have even the option to customize it, different color, different format, right? If you prefer days before months, for example. So all these, and of course you can you can have it, let's say, in the same city maybe, right, or in the same country if you have a different location, right? Let's jump, you know, to a different location, and we simply create a different group, right? Let's call it group 2, right? So within this group 2, you would have a different set of widgets.
Let's it point B.
Yeah, point 2, right? So within a point, you are creating widgets, and once you locate them, you are able, you know, to create a visualization of your location, right? So the logic is very similar. You know, you select the widget, you select the parameter, you can customize it and make it, you know, as easy as possible, right? So after, let's say, you add separate separate widgets with different logic, now you have 2 points, right? If you would like, you can actually jump to one of the points immediately, right? So you don't have to zoom in, zoom out. It's very easy, you know, to jump from one point to another. Of course, if you have 10 points, this is a brilliant solution how to make it, right? So maps is relatively new. It was in the latest release last month, so make sure to test it, right? And you know, your feedback is always welcome. Let us know what is interesting, what is new, maybe what you would like to have. So we're definitely working, you know, to make it better. Another question that we received before this session was specifically about our device copying, right? As I said, yes, if you have, for example, 3 floors like today, or if you have 10 floors in a building, this is something that really makes life easier. So let's start. Today we have 8 devices, right? So let's start with creating a separate device, right? Quantity 1. Let's start with 1. Of course, you have multiple, and then you have the dashboards. You can create them as well.
Just select type of widget that you can link, that you want to link to each kind of text that you add. Discrete, analog, just information, with control.
Yeah.
Select all type of the widget and create.
So you simply create. Now it takes
yes.
it takes 2 seconds, and then you simply go to dashboard. So let's go to this dashboard. As you could see on the upper side, it's demo 009, right? So this is the device that we simply added now, right? And the dashboard is created. So you can literally get all the signals, and then you customize. You know, you can delete something, you can add something.
Yes, you can go to the edit mode and change everything what you want. Delete, add. It's easy.
Yeah. So now imagine again, if you have, you know, a 20-floor building, right? If you have similar devices, let's say 20 controllers or 40 sensors, right? If they are similar, you can literally copy them one by one. So let's go to another example. So for example, on the first floor, we have a parameter, we have a dashboard that shows us air humidity, right? So if we have the same structure for the second floor, we can easily copy, right? So this is floor 1. So we go to devices, it is within our demo 008. And then we copy the device and we copy the dashboard automatically, right? So now it's demo 10, right? And on the upper side, you could see that it is a copy from the 008, right? So it could be, of course, you rename it floor 2, for example, or floor 22, whatever is your case. So as simply as that, right? You don't have to do, let's say, the repetitive standard steps. A lot of it is automated. A lot of it makes it relatively faster, right?
Yes, and now I have the original dashboard for one devices and have second floor for similar devices with dashboard and all text that's similar already here. You can see the information difference. It's other devices, but with same dashboard.
Yeah. Okay, so one more question that was also asked is specifically about graphics, right? So of course in BMS, graphics is important. Graphics make it the user interface better. So we have a very relatively unique, I'm not going to shy out about it, relatively unique solution, right? So what we do, we're using again the settings of a dashboard of a widget of the polygon, right? So in our case, what we can show is the moving graphic for the elevator, for example, right?
Yes.
So
elevator now in the floor 0, but if I put information, for example, floor 1, we can here see the elevator in the floor 1. Here's the same information. Let's do it in the floor 2, and elevator change the position.
Yeah. So of course
3,
we're simulating the signal, but when it comes in real life, right, the elevator would simply pop up on the screen, right? How do we do it? It's very simple. Again, we are using the polygon widgets, as you could see, widgets, 3 different polygons, and we're connecting with the logic, right? Once the parameter is linked to, let's say, the value 3, which is the 3rd floor, then of course it highlights with green. If you don't like green, you make it blue, you make it yellow, whatever, right? You can make it more mellow, whatever you like, right? So this is all about customization. This is all about customer, right? Customer is king at the end of the day.
And the second part of this logic, first you add the information when this widget is green or other color, and in the other signal, for example, 1, 2, doesn't matter, we hide this widget. It's invisible. For this position in the second floor, we have same logic, but the value is 2.
Yeah. So once
for
you set up
floor, 1.
You are doing the basic, let's say, settings for the floor 1. Later, you simply copy the widget and simply change the logic from 1 to 3, right? So in a way, this improves, again, the interface. This adds a little bit of graphics. So we would like to hear your opinion, okay? How do you like this kind of solution? Do you think it could be applicable for your projects, right? If you have, some other interesting ideas, please share with us, and we will be, ready to help you out with testing, right? Or maybe some improvements. Okay, so these are the questions that we received up until now. We have, of course, a couple other questions that we received before before our webinar. There were some questions specifically about technical side, right? So of course, most of you know that starting December last year, we're offering SmartICS on Linux, right? So this has been, an interesting approach, an interesting experience, right? And at the same time, we're adding additional protocols. About protocols, we'll have a separate couple words a bit later, right? So here you could see, the details about the database, the PostgreSQL that could be used, the MS SQL database that could be used, right? So this is, again, in a way, very graphically shows the basic requirements for the for our software. Right. Another question that we received, and it's also very, very interesting hot topic, is of course the cybersecurity. Right. Cybersecurity is important, right? Because it's data security, signal security. For the cybersecurity, Daniel, can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, so for the cybersecurity, what's important to say, and most of you already know, but some are asking, is that of course we're using the HTTPS and the WebSocket secure, right? But at the same time, what is relatively, again, new and already tested is the fact that if there is an instance of brute force entrance, right, our system, SmartICS, is identifying this kind of signals. Right, so anytime somebody is trying to brute force enter and guess the password, the system would simply time out. Right, so the system in a way is adding an additional layer of security. Quickly about protocols that were also being asked is the fact that yes, we added MQTT as the latest protocol. We're using it through an independent broker. It's not part of our package, but for the protocol itself, I think we have an option later to show how we can use it, right? Also, interesting and often question is about the licensing, right? As you remember, we're licensing by the number of devices connected to the server. Right, so here is a basic example. If you know, all your field units are connected to one PLC, then you get the license for one device. And separately, of course, if they go all the devices, all the controllers, all the systems, if they go to the server, then this is the number of devices, right? And when it comes to the MQTT, because again, it all depends on the unique IP. We tried to, even though MQTT is calculated by the tags, we try to simplify it for you and keep the same logic, right? So whenever you have a number of tags, you simply divide it by 100. So this is our internal logic. So for example, if you have a project using connecting 500 MQTT tags, you divide this 500 by 100, so you have 5. So within our price calculator, you are looking for 5 devices. This is as simple as that. But of course, if you have any other questions, then let us know, and then we will evaluate each case separately. And the last question that we received before the webinar is specifically about reporting, right? As you could see on our screen, the interface is very, very user-friendly, but there is so much to tell about reporting that we decided, basically the other day, we decided that since again we're running out of time, unfortunately, we will talk about reporting in a separate webinar. Okay, we would like to have a separate session where we would go in deep for the reporting module. We will try to help you understand better how the analysis is done, how all could be used for the end users, analytics, calculations, reporting, right? So also let us know if you have any additional ideas about reporting, so then we can discuss it for our next webinar specifically on reporting module, right? So now,
or if you want, yes, sorry, Igor, and if you want to see another webinar, not for reporting, but some kind of other part of development, maybe SmartICS, maybe high-level information of the automation system, you can ask us and we try to help you.
Yeah, don't be shy. You know my number, you know my email. Let us know. We'll be happy to consider your questions, right? So unfortunately, we have passed our 1 hour, right? I see that we have so many questions, and I see that most of them have been answered. I see a couple questions that came directly to me, right? Let me quickly read them. What is the update policy? Is there a compulsory update required? There is no compulsory update. Okay, so we offer 12 months, so basically 1 year, 12 months of free updates available, and updates of course are every 3 months, since we have releases every 3 months scheduled. So post first year, so after 1 year, the standard cost for update is 10% of the license cost. But again, this is not compulsory, right? And there is a question about sound notification. Sound notification of accidents. Yes. Daniel, do you think we can quickly show the in the user settings?
Yes, of course.
We have
in the settings, in profile, first link is a sound notification. You can just upload your sound for alarm or for events, or change, or use
your
default.
own, or you can use the default sound. So yes, you can set up your own alarms, sound notifications for accidents, right? So again, apologies for running out of time. I know the topic is interesting, so we try to make it as compact as possible for you. I see that most of you are still with us, and from me, from Daniel, and from our entire team, I would like to thank everybody for joining. Right, I would like to express our gratitude that you are showing interest in our solution and you are actively promoting. We really hope that today's session was educational, interesting, and as good and useful as possible for you and for your teams. Right, on the screen you could see my numbers, my email address. You could see, our YouTube page that is constantly updated with new tutorial videos. So feel free to contact us if you have, of course, any technical questions, or simply if you want to chat. Right. So again, thank you very much. We hope you had fun today, and I will be waiting for feedback about today's session and about your next inquiries about next webinars or upcoming projects where SmartICS could be and should be the only solution to be offered. Right. So again, thank you very much. Thank you. Stay in touch, and we will be uploading this session to the YouTube within a couple days. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. If you still have a question or you need some kind of help with your project, to show how draw it, to show how connect it, or something else, you can just contact Igor and we try to help you.